Hello and welcome to Comic Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Eric McElroy. Good evening.
Good evening. Yes, welcome along to the second part of your 2 doses per week of Comic Solving Problems, where we look at the problems in the news, we look at the problems you send to us, and we use our critical thinking and logical formations to solve the problems, but then ignore all of that and just do silly jokes about stuff instead. You know, you got 2 routes to go down, and we went down that route, so hopefully that's all right, because Comic Solving Problems. If you are wanting to get in touch with the show, seeing as we're live, you can tweet us on our little tweety things down here. Also, you can go to our main YouTube channel and then chat in the little chatty chat. That's there. Wherever you're watching this, you should be able to chat to us as well. And what would be very much appreciated, seeing as we got dressed up for it again, is share the link. Wherever you're watching this, you could check this link on social media. Let's get some eyes in this direction, just in case we accidentally come up with a proper solution. It would be good if a grown-up saw it. So share the link, and if you enjoy it at any stage, you'd always chuck some money in the pot as well. Would be another way of helping out, seeing as we poor.
Yeah, we're poor. But we did have some people that we'd like to thank who pre-purchased Ko-fi's for us, essentially, through our affiliation with Crack Comedy. So thank you to you guys in advance. But if you're sitting on a shitload of cash, you think,
like the kings of olden days when they used to be patrons of the arts.
Exactly.
Is this art? Let's not ask that question. Let's not even ask it. Let's just give money to the comedians who can barely afford food. Anyway, so on that happy, positive note, let's get stuck into solving some problems. Mr. Eric McElroy,
Definitely.
take it away.
Steve, sometimes we deal with the big problems. Sometimes we deal with the common problems. This is one that I think all of our viewers can identify with, is what happens when you incite an overthrow of a government?
Yeah, difficult.
It's difficult. We've all been there. We've all had those moments. And apparently what happens, especially if you're president of the United States, is you get this headline, which I'm quite enjoying, and that Trump has been impeached again. Hey! Last week when I was seeing my country fall apart, I was like, oh, but, there's good news at the end of that rainbow. I have to say, sometimes, Steve, second time round, sequels can be better.
You reckon?
I just think so. I think this impeachment was definitely the Empire Strikes Back of impeachments, because, we had people from the Republican side cross over and vote against the president because they don't like having their lives threatened, just like Democrats. Turns out, we all breed, oh shit, someone's trying to kill us. Now, the thing is, what's different this time, of course, is, the president only has 1 week to go, but he's still Donald Trump. He still likes to respond. And so he did try and respond, and we can see what he said right here. Oh, no, we can't. He's been suspended from Twitter because he tried to overthrow the United States democratically elected government. He has been trying, though. He's been trying to get the word out. Because, Trump is a man who likes to be heard. And we actually spotted him outside of Twitter headquarters yesterday. Classic scene. Sadly, that movie's so old that my kids, I have to explain that scene to my kids. I'm like, the scene where he's holding the boombox. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Do you have to explain what a boombox is?
Yeah. The whole thing is just like, and the car that he drove, oh, never mind. But it hasn't worked. Trump is still blocked, as we know, but he did get the message out. He released this statement during the impeachment hearings, which we can see here. It doesn't really matter what he said because it's just all bullshit. But if you notice, this is a statement from the president of the United States, and he's still written it like it's a tweet. Same length. I mean,
if he were allowed emojis.
Yeah, he's still doing all capital letters, just like George Washington used to do. Because, he said that he's been muzzled and everything else because he can't send tweets. He's still the president. He still is the most powerful man in the world. He's got a whole press corps sitting there waiting to hear his sentences. Oh, God. So in addition to that tweet, he also did eventually release a video. But again, it's the same problem that he has, Steve. He doesn't have access now to his YouTube channel. His Snapchat is gone. He's got restricted access to his OnlyFans page. There's very few ways for the president to get his message out. So they did release a video, but the big question was, how did they get the disc out of the White House. And here we have exclusive footage of how they smuggled the video out. Ooh. You can see he's going for it. There it is. Oh, she's got it. She's got it. She's going to get the video. She's got the disc. Oh, she's dropped the discs. Oh, they're all over the floor. That's
Ooh.
a tricky one.
We've
all been there.
Was it a 3.5-inch floppy? Explain that one to the young people.
Yeah. It was a hard disk.
Was it a thumb drive?
It just fell out. It's difficult to hold on to these things. So
I'd love it if when it fell out, it made that doo-dung noise.
There's lots of little. It was drugs. So Trump came out, and he did release a video. Here's a little bit of what he had to say.
I want to be very clear. I unequivocally condemn the violence.
That's nice to hear. He's got a new tone. He wants to be clear. He's going to condemn the violence a week after it happened because the violence didn't work. He's realized now it would have been better if it had. But, he continued on there. He had a message for his supporters.
No true supporter of mine could ever endorse political violence. No true supporter of mine could ever disrespect law enforcement.
Dude, that is news to your supporters. They did not know that was what you wanted. You've clearly been sending some real mixed messages there, Sonny boy. But the good thing is he's trying to reach out to both sides of the argument, which we can see here.
Whether you are on the right or on the left, a Democrat or a Republican.
Well, you're on the left, you're on the right, you're a Democrat, or you're a Republican. He's got this little head bubble thing going on. Please don't send me to jail. That's the core message we're getting there. My lawyers wrote this. I'm just trying to read it. Help me. That's a different tone, but at the same time, it's still something powerful. I know this only resonates probably to any Americans, seeing, a president in the Oval Office saying words that you desperately want to hear from someone in that role. And, there was a moment in the speech where I thought, this is a Trump this is anyone as a leader we want to hear. And it's this moment.
Hundreds of millions of incredible American citizens who have responded to this moment with calm, moderation, and grace. We will get through this challenge just like we always do.
Now, I'm sorry, you can't help but say, yes, that is exactly what someone in that position should say, and it's incredible to hear. But because it's Donald Trump, he wasn't done there, and this was the next thing he said.
I also want to say a few words about the unprecedented assault on free speech.
Yeah, it's right back to him. He's just going to go back to the whole Twitter thing because he just can't put the boombox aside, and he's got to get right back in there. So, it's Donald Trump. He might not be on Twitter, but he's still I'm going to say. And if you're wondering, by the way, before we get too far, whatever happened to the nice lady who had drugs in her what and when they fell out on the floor, because that's the best, she's in prison, she's decided to reach in and get the drugs she smuggled in, she drops them on the floor, she's in a prison cell, what is she going to do? I didn't want to deny our viewers the rest of that video, which is here. It's just there, it's on the floor. I don't know what happened. There's drugs. Did they come from the ceiling? Look at the police officer looking up at the ceiling. She just tries to brush them under the bench. There's just these ecstasy pills that are just, I don't know where they came from.
I wish we had more sound of that, because it would be like, yeah, they came from the ceiling, and you might want to check your tiling because these drugs smells like twat, so something's wrong up there. Is it? Someone taking a piss
smells
in the
also
ceiling?
known as the smell of the President of the United States.
Blimey. Yeah, what a time for you. I almost feel sorry if it weren't for the fact that we do better on social media when I don't feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
So many things to unpick there. You're right. As a Brit, it's not impressive to see him sat behind that desk in that office. I see that and think like, oh yeah, Deep Impact was a good film. Do you know what I mean? I just want Morgan Freeman to be sat there. That's all it equates to in my mind. But you want him to be sat there as well, don't you?
I'd love for Morgan Freeman to sit anywhere he wants.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, what an interesting time. I love the fact that someone could talk about an unprecedented attack on freedom of speech, and they're saying that during what is effectively a presidential address. It's like, I'm being silenced, and I'm talking about that in my presidential address later on.
After I've released a statement from the press secretary of the White House, and everyone in the world has now published my statement and my video, no one is listening to me.
Do you reckon that bit wasn't scripted?
No, it was all scripted. Of course, he has to have a dig. He can't just let things go. And I think the problem is that, when you have a video like that, you can't see how many likes you have.
Upsetting, yeah.
It's upsetting. You need that little endorphin hit of getting a view.
Do you reckon he's put a minute-long version on TikTok? Just to get the hits.
He's been banned from there too.
I am not surprised. Although, to be fair, he banned them first. So this is very much tit for tat in the tick for talk. I think it's absolutely great as well about the fact that he's effectively, the way in which he's delivering it and the things he's saying. You're right, it's so great. Isn't it good to hear someone saying, I don't condone the violence? But that video, if you download it, is probably called Exhibit A for the Defense.mp4. Deliberately doing it ready to show at the impeachment.
Yeah. But you just know, as soon as he is allowed to dial into Fox and Friends again or wherever, he's just going to uncork. He never stands by. When he does these official statements, he never stays with them. The only difference is it's taking longer for it to get out because he's having to write the tweets down and post them with a pigeon to get them out of the White House.
Yeah, excellent. All right, if you enjoyed the show, chuck some money in the pot. We've got some messages coming through. Martin says, are we revolving? As in, this is a revolution. No, they're evolving.
Could be evolving, revolving. I'm not sure.
Some of the messages coming through there. Seeing Trump sitting behind that desk reminds me of Ronnie Barker's Ministry of sketches in The Two Ronnies. Brilliant. Because he talks that kind of rubbish as well. That would work. I thought it was going to be... I thought you were going to show the Giuliani image from Borat 2.
With the reaching in the trousers. I did think about trying to link those two things together, but I was having too much fun watching the woman explain how the drugs had just come out of the sky. I don't know where they're from. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. I'm not catching the comments on this side as much, so I'll let you catch up with them if you can.
Yeah, I think we're up to date for some of those for now. You can get us on the Twitter things that are on the screen as well.
Yes. The tweets are there. The Ko-fi link is there if you'd like to chuck us a drink. And, of course, you can always share it on Facebook or YouTube as you're watching.
Lovely stuff. Right. Oh, John says, with the four of us, is this classed as a bubble? Yes, this is an online bubble. Safety. Yep. In fact, you know what? That leads me nicely into talking about the next problem that I want to talk about.
Okay, good.
We've not addressed the issue of COVID on this show for quite a while, which is interesting and is good. And it's mainly because, thank you, America, you always manage to come up with something that is ridiculous. And in some ways, it makes me even more convinced that 2021 is just a bad rip-off of 2020 because there's an impeachment, yawn, had one of those before, there's a strain of a virus going everywhere. In fact, this year is such a bad copy of last year. Dominic Cummings had better check his tyre pressure and oil because, get ready, you got to go on a drive. So just to bring you up to date with what's happening in the COVID situation from our locked down positions, it all seems to be to do with the strains. That's the news. These more contagious, more spreadable strains. And look, there are loads of different strains. We're only going to hear about the ones that are worse, and we're only going to find out about the more contagious and spreadable ones first because, they're racing ahead and going to get measured. So we saw that there is this fast-spreading UK coronavirus variant. The interesting thing about that is that it was created in the southeast of England. So as a northerner, even though I live down here now, I still relate enough to really hate southerners again, because as if they are not annoying with their Bath pronunciations and their houses that aren't worth that much, now they create a pissy virus strain that is wiping all of us out. Well done. Yo, got a nice little virus here, got a nice little, sort yourself out, get yourself something nice. Wee. That's one strain that we're having to worry about. There's this one. This is the South African COVID strain. And I saw that one when Boris Johnson mentioned that in a press conference. I did think this coronavirus has started to become like white wine. The people are going on about the new ones from South Africa and the small little batch that you can get down from the southeast of England. I preferred the good old days when we were getting it from Italy and we knew what we're getting. And then the latest one that we need to talk about, this is the Brazilian strain. There's now a ban on some travel because of this new Brazilian coronavirus variant. And scientists have been analysing to work out the difference. As we can see here, this is a picture of the main strain of coronavirus that we all know. The Brazilian is more like that. And that means they've also found another strain, the Hollywood, straight down the middle. Look at that. Whoa. Keeping it classy. Keeping it classy on the show since 2020.
This is my life now.
But there is an issue to do with masks. So look, loads of people are getting it. It's spreading ridiculously quickly. And you'd think, okay, that must be making more people think, I'm going to start wearing a mask. And still, there are protests and people getting angry. There are videos every day of people in shops being told to wear masks. And instead of just saying no, they have to get angry about it because I'm not sure why. Because they're idiots. It could well be because they're idiots. And so much so that supermarkets now have had to bring in rules where unless you have the ability to prove that you're exempt, you have to wear a mask to go in there. Because supermarkets are where people are catching things. Now, to be fair, it's also likely to be touching baskets and trolleys. So that needs to be put. But at least that way you don't touch your own face as much when you got the mask on. But also just wear a damn mask. I don't understand it. People say,
what are you trying to say?
People say things like, yeah, but back when the first lockdown started, all the experts, so-called experts, were saying that masks weren't going to help. So, and to those people, I say, well, if we ignore the concept of humans experiencing time as a linear construct, then yes, well done. You've highlighted that experts have said masks are good and also not good. So they cancel out. Best case scenario, they cancel out and we don't know if they're good or not. But as soon as you remember time, the fact that these experts have said that they are good more recently, there is a little concept that I like to call learning. And I know some people struggle with that, and it's not a popular one. But these experts might have worked out that now we know we can get enough of these kind of masks, then you should wear one. So maybe just flipping wear one. And right, I am militant. I'm not as militant as HSBC, that's now threatened to not just not let you in their banks, but to close the accounts for people who refuse to wear a mask in the branches. That is tough. Because I'm old enough to remember when if you wore a mask into a bank, that's when you'd get in trouble. Like, people knew what you were going in there for if you were a bank robber. Oh, the one with the mask on his face. In fact, in many ways, I feel sorry for the bank robbers because no one knows what they're there for straight away. They have to queue up like the rest of us. Oh, sorry, there's not many cashiers on at midday. I should have robbed you at a different time. So look, here's what we're dealing with. Masks, here's my theory. You should wear a mask. And if you don't like the idea of wearing one in a supermarket, go to a worse supermarket. Go to the kind of cheap-ass supermarket where you really wouldn't want your neighbours seeing you in there, and you'll be grateful for the fact you cover your face. Just do whatever you can to make this flipping happen, because you could be saving lives. Or, if you're right, worst case scenario, they're not effective. What's the downside? You look a little bit like a character from Mortal Kombat for a while. Worst case scenario, you've not helped, but every other scenario is better. So look, I wear masks, and when I'm wearing a mask, I'm no more likely to agree with the government. I don't pay more tax, and I don't veer left and right like a commercial drone. So I don't think I am being controlled when I wear a mask. So much so that I'm going to wear a mask now. And we were sent some for free, because we get some free stuff every so often. This is was sent from Microsoft. And you can see that if I just took this behind the... Yes, master, I will use the Edge browser.
Steve, you okay, Steve?
Sorry, I think I nodded off for a minute there. I had a weird dream that I was a paperclip trying to help people. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, masks. Just wear a mask. I don't know why, because I keep getting in online rows about them all the time, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. So look, to all of those people, those stupid anti-maskers, I say this. To whom it may concern. It looks like you're trying to write a letter. Sorry, I forgot what I was talking about there.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know what happened. You sorry.
Anyway,
Strange.
it's probably your go now. Anyway, so yeah, thank you very much. Whatever I was talking about.
I have to say that HSBC thing. So if you go into HSBC, they'll close your accounts.
Yeah.
I owe a lot of money to HSBC, Steve.
You're going to go in there sans mask, see if they forget about the difference.
What are you going to do? Close my accounts? And they're going to look at my balance and go, oh, no. We'll hold on to you.
Sell on the debt.
You owe way too much. Love a good Microsoft paperclip joke, Steve. It's always good.
Thank you. And again, one that young people won't remember. And also, when I was picking the audio for making it sound like Windows was starting up, I must admit, I don't know what Windows 10 sounds like. I mute all the things. I had to go back to Windows XP. That's the proper sound of Windows warming up.
Yeah, these new Windows.
Yeah.
It looks like it doesn't even work the same. I mean, it actually works, the new Windows. So it's not like Windows XP at all.
Weird.
There we go. Yep, I can see Mark said you've got some MS Method, which is nice.
Thank you.
Microsoft Method, which is good. And he's tried to come up with some ideas for HSBC. Halt sneezing because COVID, or halt spread because COVID.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
There we go.
Doesn't HSBC the one that describe themselves as the world's bank? Stop that.
Yep.
You want less of that. Don't be sending money all over the place, or wash it first or something, would you?
Yeah.
John says, if you're a paperclip, you are part of the UK's world-beating test and trace system. Ding, ding. And Amal says, COVID, what is that? Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of it. I think I remembered something about it before I put the mask on, but now it's all... Can't remember.
Yeah, so I'm sure it's fine. Probably won't make the news tomorrow. So, maybe it's a problem we solved once.
Yeah, I don't remember it, though. Ever since I wore that mask, things have got a bit vague.
Steve has kindly put up the Ko-fi link on there, so if you're enjoying what you're seeing, you're welcome to buy it.
Look at the artwork. Look at that.
Because we really didn't get sent that mask. Steve had to buy it.
Look at the artwork for the Windows logo. Look at that. That's what you're paying for.
Logo on there.
Yeah. The modern Windows logo. I'm not messing around with this show.
That is some serious effort.
Yeah. Remember that when you chuck in some money in the Ko-fi pot?
How long did that take you?
Yeah, it's like 30 seconds. Honestly, I had to Google what the Windows logo looks like. I use it. I can't remember.
I bet those people are so thankful they paid for this in advance tonight. No refunds.
You're getting the good stuff. You should see what I've produced for the next one, but that's in a bit.
That's in a bit. There we go.
It's a prop show, this one.
I can't. I'm struggling to see comments on this side today, so I don't know if you can see any more over there. Because there was a problem with one of our services that does this, so we apologize if we are not getting to your comments tonight.
Britt says paperclip method, and Chris says operating system method. All the acting, all the time, 24/7 on this show. Apart from it's not.
It's all there. It's all there. I don't even see it there. Yeah, I can't see it on this side. Sorry.
Yeah, it's odd that it is right there, and I in terms of the links, I can't work out where it's appearing either. Although no, that's you saying hi everyone. I've got that message.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
I can see my own messages. I can just talk to myself, which is pretty normal.
So you can get stuck into the next one. I'll keep an eye on what's happening with the messages. You get stuck into the next problem.
Well, I am kind of. I mean, it's so many big stories from the States. I do care about Britain and what's happening here. There was a whole story about fish not being able to leave Scotland. We'll get back to that. The success of Brexit in a few weeks. But in the meantime, Steve, it is a big problem. How do you respond to a coup? Big problem. We do know that Congress decided to respond by impeaching the president. And, my fellow Democrats who were in Congress, they pretty much had a pretty good idea about how they felt about the whole thing, which we can see here from one representative.
In the first impeachment, Republicans said we didn't need to impeach him because he learned his lesson. So no need to remove him. Well, we said if we didn't remove him, he would do it again.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Simply put, we told you so.
The gentleman's time has expired.
Richmond out.
I mean, watching Congress is really boring, but how great is that? His time's up. Richmond, out! I mean, can you imagine that in Parliament? Like Boris Johnson is done with his question time. It's like, Johnson, out! I mean, it would be amazing. So that was the Democratic side, was just pretty much laying into Trump, talking about the insurrection, talking about what's done, how he's inspired all of this. The Republicans were in a difficult position because they were attacked as well. But most of them, only 10 Republicans crossed the line and said, yes, we didn't want to be killed last week. But the rest of them were kind of like, no, we're cool with it as long as we get our tax cuts. And so it was a difficult case for them to argue. And so their argument was led by a guy named Jim Jordan, and he basically wanted to try and divert attention away from what Trump had incited. And so he really wanted us to pause and to think. And so here's what Jim Jordan got his argument.
It seems to me that we need to think about how great the people of this nation really are.
Yeah. Some of these people are great. Some of these people are great insurrectionists. Some of these people aren't great insurrectionists. It's very important to know. So Jim wanted to make his case. He wanted to defend, the people who he wanted to just defend everybody, focus more on how great America is. And so he wanted us to think. And so Jim, what do you want us to think about at this big moment?
Think about this. Think about this. In 1903, in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, two guys fly this thing they called a plane 100 feet. Barely got off the ground.
Okay. I guess you're creating a metaphor, like the plane barely got off the ground, kind of like the coup barely got off the ground. Is that what you're trying to say, Jim? I guess, I'm cutting in here. There must be more to this metaphor than this. Carry on.
44 years later, Chuck Yeager breaks the sound barrier. In 44 years, we go from two guys flying a contraption they called a plane a few hundred feet to Chuck Yeager breaking the sound barrier.
Okay, so I guess we've got the plane barely taken off, so that's the coup barely happening, to the speed of which we've rushed towards the second impeachment. Is that what he's not done yet, so maybe he's taken us somewhere with this, right? He can't just be talking.
And 22 years after that, another American steps on the moon.
Is the Capitol on the moon? I don't really know what you're talking about, Jim. Just bring it home. Come on. Make me understand.
Think about it. In one lifetime, in 66 years, two guys flying 100 feet to putting a man on the moon. That's what this country is capable of. That's what we can do. And we, as the Congress who represent the people who did that, should start leading. Should start understanding what really is going on here.
I think what's really going on here, Jim, is that you're full of shit. And they've got a certain amount of time to talk, and so they're just going to fill it. So that was the case that was being made in the Congress. And that explains why he lost the impeachment vote. Trump's people were also out on the airways talking about what's happened and impeachment. This next guy, his name's Peter Navarro. He works for Trump in the White House. He's a supporter, but he was trying to acknowledge everything that's happened, and this is what he had to say about it.
I would be remiss by not saying to you, Maria, that what happened yesterday was a travesty.
All right, that's fair enough. I mean, he's acknowledging that some bad things have happened over the last week in America. The situation is a travesty. Tell me, Peter, whose fault is this travesty?
What was a travesty. That was the Democratic Party did violence to this country.
Whoa, there we go. That is some first-class victim blaming there, Peter. I mean, that is definitely, the Democrats did violence to the country by receiving a coup, and they're impeaching a president. Because basically the argument is that, there's going to be more serious problems because the Democrats are holding the president to account for the violence that he caused, and people might get more violent. So the Democrats are the one who are causing all this. I mean, this is pretty much blaming the ice cream cone for getting licked. That's what we're talking about here, Steve. You know that old saying, don't you?
No, I've never heard that before. Quite like
It's because I made it up. But the thing is, and also, of course, because of this insurrection, they're getting dumped by social media, which they're very upset about, and they talked about that as well.
We're not buying this election. We think it was rigged. But get this, you cannot say that on social media. You will get banned.
You can't say it anywhere,
irregularities.
Maria.
That's right. These two people are spending their time on national fucking television talking about the fact that no one can hear what they're saying. I mean, Steve, you and I would become Republicans and storm the Capitol if we could get that much TV time, wouldn't we?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
to get out of this room, for Christ's sake.
I'd fake being
Jesus.
maced. Yeah.
But the thing is, not all Republicans voted to let the president off. Some Republicans are realizing that something must be done. I mean, some of them are talking quite seriously, like this.
On behalf of the American people, we have to make sure that our leaders are held accountable. We cannot have a president of the United States that is willing to abuse the power of the office of the presidency.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. I mean, she's actually a Republican, Marjorie, and she's a little bit crazy as well. But she's saying that we want to hold the government to a power. So, Marjorie, how are you going to do that? How are you going to hold this? How are you going to hold the government to power?
So on January 21st, I will be filing articles of impeachment on Joe Biden.
Okay. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You know what? Richmond, can you say it for me?
Richmond out.
I'm out. I give up.
Yeah. She makes a good point. Not just makes a good point, but she embodies a good point. That's just going to happen a lot, isn't it? That's all it's going to be.
It's just
Tit for tat
not me.
impeachments.
It's the other guy.
Couple of things
Greatest
on that.
country in the world.
Yeah, greatest country in the world. Also, just want to replay one of the clips that you showed us. Look at this
I
one.
would be remiss by not saying to you,
Max Headroom's aged. I love never green screen if the camera of you is lower res than the green screen behind you. What is he doing? Good Lord. Yeah.
We're really hitting all the topical things. Say anything, Max Headroom. We are on the cutting edge of media these days, Steve.
Windows 95.
How are we not bigger than we are?
I don't know. I keep thinking this all the time. Why are we not more successful? But put some money in the pot. That's the stage we're at.
I think because our demographic doesn't know how to watch things online.
Yeah, damn it. They're all still using Windows 95. Martin says, masks. What if the person is a supermarket denier and does not believe in the existence of Asda?
Ooh.
That's a very good point.
That's a good question. Britt has said new kids book, James and the Giant Impeachment.
Yep, nice.
Good. Yep.
Trying to work. There is almost too many messages now, but some of them are coming through on places where.
Was it one of those delayed things?
Yeah.
Jack has said he's not seen comments on YouTube either tonight. So there was we use a service called Restream, and they did say they were having problems. So I don't know if that's bled into this. So we apologize that we can't have that live interaction. People are going to think we're recorded.
No, we can't. Oh, Eric, this is a side note. This is a production thing. Just press refresh on the Mob Crush ones because they're not auto-updating, but you get them that way.
This is the sexy part of the show, guys.
Britt says, don't most people lick the ice cream and bite the cone? Our cone lick... I'm not saying that. Not saying the last bit. Oh, dear. But the first point, totally take your point. Not saying that last bit. So, if you'd like to get involved, message wherever. If you message on... Yeah, you can message on the main YouTube channel, or there is our Twitter things. Wherever you're watching it, we should be able to track you down eventually. You ready for another problem?
I'd love another problem, Steve. Do you have one?
I got a problem, and I think I've got a solution.
No, and maybe the first time.
This is the problem of a scam that is being perpetrated, and I noticed this on the BBC News website where they talked about the Smart Dot radiation protection phone stickers that have no effect. And that's because if we take a look at one, it's a sticker that you put on the back of your phone.
Right.
And unbelievably, that sticker doesn't impact the non-ionizing radiation that is electromagnetic radiation, microwaves, radio waves, and light. So this is what they did. They bought some of these stickers, they took them to a university, and they did some tests. And stickers supposed to protect the user against mobile phone radiation have no effect, scientists have found. Somehow, this mobile phone radiation, if you don't know what that is, it's the way that the signal leaves your goddamn house through the walls, isn't stopped by a sticker. It's very curious. Anyway.
But if it says that the sticker people said that it did, right?
They said that it did, and it must be true. I read it on a sticker. But turns out they've not managed to find any proof of it.
Oh.
The Devon-based company told BBC News that the stickers were programmed with scalar energy, which the scientists' equipment would be unable to detect. So first question, how have you detected it then? Because obviously one option is you just made it up. But if you didn't do that, if the scientists can't detect it and you can, I got some bad news for you. You're cutting edge science. Oh no, you've become the thing you hate. Yeah, I don't know what people think science is, but it's not a thing owned by people or anything. It's like logic. It doesn't matter whether you subscribe to it or not. Scientists wouldn't be able to work it out. If you can measure it, it's a thing. If you can't, it's not. I read on. Spokesman for the lab said, we could not find any evidence that these products had any effect on the frequency or the power when used as instructed. They even bothered to read the instructions. It's a sticker, for the love of God. What do stickers do? They maybe make people feel brave because they've not cried at the dentist, and that's all they do. They let you get a seat if you're pregnant or on public transport, but they don't stop non-ionizing radiation. But, of course, that's only me using my science. An Energy Dots spokeswoman said, we state clearly that our products harmonize the fields. You might state that, but it don't make any sense. Harmonize the fields. Yeah, because actually, if I get my phone, I've put one of the stickers on here, and if I listen, Barbershop Quartet, beautiful. Harmonize the field, my hairy ass. Then I was mocking it. I was thinking, look, I can't believe people have fallen for this. Like, if you want to stop your phone emitting radiation, why not dunk it in a vat full of homeopathic liquid? Because that'll work. Stops your phone working. And the same is true. Like, science actually tells us that you can stop this radiation because light and radio waves and all that lark, it's a electric field this way and a magnetic field that way, and you got to do is stand inside a Faraday cage. You won't be able to make a phone call, but if you want to stop the radiation, it's possible, but you can't do it with a sticker. And then I saw, this is what these things are selling for.
What?
Look at that. This is not just like 3 pence for a sticker. 35 quid, 55 quid for the Energy Dot EMF radiation harmonizing device for protection against wireless radiation. Okay. So, look, if people are willing to buy shitty stickers, look, science won't back this up, but if you're worried about catching COVID, you need to buy my new no COVID stickers. Made with COVID repellent ink. These non-COVID stickers will guarantee that you won't get COVID, or maybe you will. And the actual words itself makes the COVID virus think, oh, I better not go and infect that person. Now, scientists can't tell you why that happens. End of the sentence. But if you'd like to buy some of these, then they are available on eBay now. My no COVID stickers, which are available for £65 each, or you can buy 2 for £149 because you're an idiot. Thanks. There you go.
See, Steve, you always bring up this science thing, and, you know, some people believe and some people don't. And it is a choice and a faith that you have that I don't think you should force on the rest of us.
No, it's not, is it?
You may deny scalar energy. I may never have heard of scalar energy.
I don't.
But that doesn't mean that scalar energy isn't an immeasurable force in the universe.
It doesn't. But what it does mean is you can't claim that it exists.
You can't prove it doesn't exist.
Well, you can't prove that it does exist.
Exactly.
So you should be allowed to believe it, but you shouldn't be able to say it definitely exists.
Science can't disprove it.
You can't prove it. You can't claim that something exists. The lack of contrary evidence isn't proof of something's existence.
That's what you believe.
Honestly. Because ordinarily when we talk about homeopathy, we could row about this all day, but I am willing to say if things like homeopathy bring about a placebo effect, good luck to you. It is the equivalent of Wile E. Coyote stepping off the cliff and not falling until he looks down. And do you know what? If not looking down stops you getting injured, good luck to you. You keep believing the lies. But when people are being conned out of 60 quid for a sticker.
Did you see the reviews they'd had for the product?
Let's have a look at it again.
It's like 5 stars for most of that. That's better than my last Edinburgh run.
God.
I didn't get that many stars in Edinburgh.
108.
And I paid for PR.
You should have just lied about stuff. You wait.
It's not a lie if you believe.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway.
Available now on all good.
Speaking of which, you can rate the show. For those of you who bought tickets on Crack Comedy, you can please give us more stars than the fucking stickers. Christ, even if you didn't like it. I mean, God, this did not cost £65.
And it's been surely more effective than a sticker. Stopping radiation.
This show has cut down on your COVID and your ionized phone rays or whatever they're called. I wasn't listening to that part because the science I tune out. But the scalar energy. This show contains 100% scalar energy.
Yeah. Is a scalar just the opposite of a vector? So it's just an energy quantity without direction? So, I mean, that's true. That exists. But they're still
whatever
measurable.
it was.
Just because you don't have a
Talking about
direction.
Talking about has made my comments work. I got a comment from Martin that says energy dots sound like some rave pills.
Exactly. Because they do pet dots, they do some other dots, and one of them's called smart dots. Now, surely you can get them on trade descriptions for that, because if there's one thing we know about people dropping 60 quid on stickers, they're not smart.
But they've got spare cash.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that then gets cash out of their bank accounts and into the economy, so maybe I'm in favour of it. If you're going to con anyone, con stupid people. But Britt says comics solving sticker fraud.
Could be an angle.
Yeah.
Could be the next season.
I saw a comedian behind the sticker. Did you notice in my eBay page? It's the book.
Always be selling. Are you selling your book on eBay?
No, but
Oh.
it's not. That's not an actual eBay page. I just photoshopped it. They're called BS COVID stickers. I'd never work again if I actually tried to sell that. And it's just because my pad was on my book.
I don't know. They're getting a lot of publicity for their stickers.
Yeah, you can buy one of these.
There we go. Well, we start a Patreon page.
Yeah.
Stickers.
This will actually fight COVID.
Oh, there you go.
And stop phone radiation. Look at this. I put my phone on the other side of the book. Oh my
Stops
God,
radiation.
Can't feel any radiation.
You got noticeably darker when you held it up like that.
It's because of the lack of radiation. I mean, technically, I am now experiencing less radiation because light is radiation.
Exactly.
Fucking.
There you go.
Fucking people with stickers.
Clearly, someone didn't get enough stickers as a child. I promise. We have had some donations tonight, and we will spend the money on stickers for Steve.
Thanks. I'm making my own these days.
goal.
It's the second show where I've made my own.
There we go. Have we solved all the problems?
Product placement, yeah. Someone else saw the book. The only scalar quantum field that has been observed in nature is the Higgs field. Scalar quantum field feature in the effective field theory descriptions of physical phenomena from Wikipedia. Nice. I suppose, I don't think that people making the stickers understand that energy is quantized. So, look at that. I did a radio show this afternoon, and they played that, I played that Neutron Dance song by the Pointer Sisters, and then did a rant about how do neutrons dance? I mean, if you want to make an electron or a proton move, put it in an electric field, but it's an uncharged particle. You can get it to move, and therefore you can work out its wavelength, Planck constant divided by the momentum. So I suppose it's moving from side to side. Is that dancing? I hope so, because that's how I dance. Who else broadcasts like that in Essex? I'm not saying it's good, but that's what I do.
No one. Chris has asked a good question. He's downloaded your book. How does that work?
I don't know. It works perfectly, because at the moment of downloading, I think that's when I get paid. Steve out.
Richmond out.
That's
part of the impeachment.
Depends on which app you've got. If you struggle with any apps, let me know and I can send you a version that you can put in your apps. I've done that as well.
That sounds like a threat. I'll put it in your apps, mate. I'll put it in your apps. Yes, so you can buy a drink, you can subscribe to the show. Please do that. Please let people know you enjoyed it. You can go on Amazon and actually buy Steve's book. It's really good. I haven't read it, but it's excellent. And you can also listen to my podcast called American Exchange. Got a new episode coming out tomorrow. I talked to Essie Cupp today, who is a real person. I don't know why that's her name. I felt kind of stupid not asking her, but it's S.E. Cup.
Sounds like the kind of thing you buy if you're going to go to a festival and don't want to use the chemical toilets.
I don't know, but she was very interesting, and she works for CNN. So,
Oh. I have to lean across to see some of these comments. Comic Solving Problems 2020 sticker album. The merch possibilities are endless, including product placement aplenty. Nice.
We should just, people who don't like masks, we should just sell big stickers, and they could stick them over their mouth and nose.
Yeah.
That would solve their problems.
It's not a bad idea at all, yeah. Especially, both at the same time, make sure that they're watertight, airtight, then all of a sudden the world will be a better place. Yeah, there's always opportunities for product placement. That's what I've learned. That's from my sticker. John says I should mention Eric's American Exchange podcast last week. Last week's Insurrection Day was excellent.
Oh, well, thank you very much, John.
Earlier on in the show, you did call someone an insurrectionist, and I did think it would be better if they were just called insurrectors. Insurrectors rise.
The word sedition has been used a lot in the last week, and it's an old school term for America because we're really old. But it's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's just one slice underneath treason, isn't it? Not quite the treason.
Yeah. Not quite.
Let's have a look. And then Amal says she should be banned. Don't know who, but let's say yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely Banner. I don't know who either. Oh, SE, Sarah Elizabeth. Mark has done the research.
Nice. Martin says your book arrives tomorrow. Does it?
Oh.
I've got mine here.
There's more than one.
I honestly, if at the moment I'm still the majority of my own paperback sales, so let's.
You should have given yourself some freebies.
No, that's what I mean. I did technically. In terms of number of units that have been produced, I own more than a half, because everyone else has been getting the ebook. Which, to be fair, every time I've been interviewed on any radio station to plug the book, I've always said, "Get the ebook. Go on, save a tree. I've read it. you're better off not wasting the paper." So, Insurrector rods. Need a cream for that, says Britt. Ooh, imagine that.
Oh, chafes. We are back on Tuesday at 9 o'clock, but you can always catch up on the past shows on the YouTube channel and little clips that we put out there. Steve's big on TikTok these days, so that's his big project. I've done a TikTok now. I'm TikToking.
Oh, yeah.
My son still has more likes and followers and stuff than me, but...
I mean, that hurts, but as I said, I've still bought more of my own paperbacks, so success does not live in this show.
In these COVID times, anything works. We might be off next Thursday, but we will be back the following week with 2 shows. So next week it might just be on Tuesday because of some technical issues.
Okay. But then we're definitely doing Tuesday next week, so tune in for that and get your dose that way.
There we go. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your donations. Thanks for buying tickets. And we will see you then.
Till next time. Bye.
Bye.